Imagine losing decades of your life, not because you committed a crime, but because the system decided you fit the description. Imagine sitting in a cold cell, watching the years slip away, birthdays fade, families move on, and a future disappear, all while knowing you are innocent. This is not a rare tragedy. It's not a mistake here or there. It is a pattern. Across America, innocent black men have been wrongfully convicted, sentenced, and caged, not for what they did, but for who they are. And while some finally walk free, the scars never leave. This is their story. Before we tell the stories, let's face the staggering numbers. According to the National Registry of Exonerations, more than 3,400 people in the U.S. have been exonerated since 1989. Black Americans make up only 13% of the population, yet they account for 47% of wrongful convictions. In murder cases, innocent black people are 7 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted than innocent white people. On average, exonerees spend 10 to 20 years in prison for crimes they didn't commit. Behind every number is a life destroyed. A son, a father, a brother. Let's begin with Anthony Ray Hinton. In 1985, Hinton was working in Alabama when police accused him of 2 murders. The evidence? A witness claimed his mother's gun was the murder weapon. No fingerprints, no motive, no credible link. Hinton couldn't afford a decent lawyer. His court-appointed attorney didn't even believe in his innocence. Forensic experts later proved the bullets didn't match the gun. But by then, Hinton had already been convicted and sentenced to death. He spent 30 years on death row. 30 years of waking up every morning knowing the state planned to kill him for something he didn't do. 30 years in a 5x7 cell, eating meals through a slot in the door, hearing the cries of men executed just feet away. When he was finally exonerated in 2015, he was 59 years old. His youth gone. His mother gone. His future stolen. Hinton later said, "The sun does shine, but for 30 years, I lived without it." Another name, Walter McMillian, from Alabama. In 1986, McMillian, a black man, was accused of murdering a white woman. The case was built on shaky testimony from a jailhouse informant who later admitted he lied. There was no physical evidence linking McMillian to the crime. Yet an all-white jury convicted him. He was sentenced to death. The truth? McMillian had dozens of witnesses placing him at a church fundraiser at the time of the murder. But in the deep South of the 1980s, a black man's life weighed little against a demand for justice. It took 6 years on death row before attorney Brian Stevenson of the Equal Justice Initiative uncovered the misconduct and freed McMillian. But freedom came at a cost. Years of trauma haunted him until his death in 2013. Few wrongful conviction cases shook America like the story of the Central Park Five, now known as the Exonerated Five. In 1989, 5 black and Latino teenagers, Antron McCray, Kevin Richardson, Yusef Salaam, Raymond Santana, and Corey Wise, were accused of brutally assaulting a white jogger in New York Central Park. The boys were between 14 and 16 years old. Police interrogated them for hours without lawyers or parents, using intimidation until they gave false confessions. There was no DNA match, no credible evidence, just fear, pressure, and systemic bias. They were convicted anyway. Corey Wise, the oldest, was sent to adult prison at 16. He served 13 years. It wasn't until 2002 that the real attacker confessed, and DNA confirmed his guilt. The 5 men were exonerated after losing their youth, their education, and their trust in the system. Years later, when a settlement was reached, Raymond Santana said, "You can replace money. You can't replace time." What do these stories reveal? A faulty eyewitness testimony. Studies show eyewitness misidentification is the leading cause of wrongful convictions, especially when the suspect is black and the witness is white. Coerced confessions. Many innocent people, especially young men, are pressured into admitting to crimes they didn't commit. Inadequate defense. Poor defendants rely on overworked, underpaid public defenders with little time to investigate. A racial bias. From police stops to jury deliberations, racial stereotypes poison every step of the process. A prosecutorial misconduct. Hiding evidence, manipulating witnesses, and pursuing convictions at all costs. It's not just about mistakes. It's about a broken system built on inequality. In 1980, Clarence Branley, a black janitor in Texas, was accused of murdering a white high school student. During questioning, an officer allegedly said, "One of you two is going to hang for this. Since you're elected." Branley was convicted and sentenced to death. Years later, new witnesses and hidden evidence revealed his innocence. After nearly 10 years on death row, he was freed. His case exposed not only racism in policing but also the indifference of a system that preferred execution over truth. For many exonerees, freedom doesn't erase the damage. They leave prison with no money, no home, no job, and often no family. Some states offer compensation, but many don't, and when they do, the amounts are inconsistent. The psychological toll, PTSD, depression, distrust, lingers forever. Anthony Graves, another black man wrongfully convicted, put it best, "They stole 18 years of my life, and they gave me nothing in return." Wrongful convictions don't just destroy the accused, they devastate families. Mothers die waiting for sons to come home. Children grow up without fathers. Wives and girlfriends are forced to carry burdens alone. Each wrongful conviction is not one tragedy, but a ripple of destruction across generations. But out of pain, movements grow. Organizations like the Innocence Project, founded in 1992, have helped free hundreds of innocent people using DNA evidence. Civil rights lawyers and activists have exposed systemic corruption. And exonerees themselves, like the exonerated five, Anthony Ray Hinton and Yusef Salaam, now a New York City councilman, have become voices for justice, demanding reform so others don't suffer the same fate. Wrongful convictions aren't accidents. They are the predictable outcome of a system that prioritizes convictions over truth, speed over fairness, and stereotypes over justice. When innocent black men are imprisoned, the real perpetrators remain free. Communities lose faith. Generations are scarred. This isn't just about a few cases. It's about a crisis at the heart of American justice. The stories of innocent black men wrongfully convicted are not just tales of individual injustice. They are mirrors reflecting the deep cracks in a broken system. They remind us that justice is not guaranteed. It must be fought for, protected, and demanded. As Anthony Ray Hinton said after his release, "The death penalty is not just about who they execute. It's about who we are as a people." If these stories moved you, don't stay silent. Share this video. Subscribe for more untold stories of justice and resilience. Together, we can shine a light on the hidden truths and push for the change that innocent lives deserve.